So it's 9:30 at night. I thought it'd be a cool idea to do a video on the reality of entrepreneurship, building your own career, I guess. Like going your own way, going against the grain, and just doing it yourself. It's probably the best way to describe it. So I thought I'd do a video on it from my experience. So I've been doing my own thing now, or like what I would class myself as an entrepreneur for like the last probably 10 years. I've always gone against traditional ways of doing things. So like the school system, getting a job and stuff was just never my thing. And I've decided from a very like early 20s that I wanted to build my own lifestyle and take control of everything, from who I worked with, what I worked on, the amount of money I could earn, where I lived, everything. And I'm still growing and still learning, as you always will be. But I wanted to share some things that I've just noted down here that I have learned and experienced along the way. So if anyone is thinking of starting doing their own thing, they can know what to expect. And maybe this resonates with some people, maybe it doesn't, who knows. My first point on my list I have here is that it's pretty lonely. So I do a lot of work on my own. I like my own company to an extent. Like I'm working in my little home office at the minute. I do like going to coffee shops, work in public spaces. But this kind of work, in quotations, is very different to working, say, in a team or in an office or anything like that, where you're constantly surrounded by people. Being an entrepreneur and building your own things from the ground up is very different. Like you need to be motivated and you need to be disciplined. And I've never struggled with motivation or discipline. I've always been able to get out of bed and wake up with a passion and a drive to work on what I want to work on every single day. It's never like the candle's never gone out on that. I'm always wanting to wake up early, go to the gym, exercise, ride my bike, work on projects I'm passionate about. I love the feeling of momentum as well, which is like a big drive for me. And when you're doing this every single day, like I primarily work on my own. Like I have people who I work with, but most time I'm on my own. I'm with my own thoughts in my own mind. And sometimes it can be pretty lonely. Like sometimes I need to remind myself of that and go and break out of that cycle and go and spend time with people, socialise and doing something other than work. Because it can get a bit like confusing sometimes to be on your own. And you're going to work way longer than you think. So I know a lot of people, and myself included, thought that, going your own path, becoming an entrepreneur and stuff is like, you do it because you want this like lifestyle of not doing anything, or like not doing anything, but like having the choice to take holidays when you want, literally just live life on your own terms. But for me, I get a big kick and a big drive out actually working. I love it. And part of me almost thinks I'm like a workaholic. Some people have to tell me to take a break sometimes because my mind, when you're doing your own thing, your mind is always switched on thinking about things. It's really hard to turn off. It's really hard to switch off and think about something else other than what you're working on, how you can make something better, how you can improve something. Just like it's how I'm wired anyway. And because of that, I end up working ridiculously long hours. But it's all things that I love doing, so it doesn't really feel like work. You know when you go to a job that you just like hate, and you end up clock watching, and time goes past really slow. You're like, oh, I need this shift going to end. Because I used to do that. I used to work in a supermarket, stacking shelves, and it was the same feeling in that, exact same feeling. Just like you do 10 minutes of work, bored as ever, look at the clock, and it would feel like hours you've been there, but it's been 10 minutes. Every single day. Same with some other jobs I've done which I just haven't enjoyed. But when I'm working on my own stuff, I almost can't get enough time. Like time goes past too quickly, and I'm like, Christ, where did the day go? Like I've achieved this, but I need more time. And because of that, I end up working at hours like this in the evening, and I don't have to. I could quite easily just walk away and go to bed now and go and watch a YouTube video or Netflix or whatever. It does not bother me at all. But I choose to work on stuff because I really enjoy it. And I get like a drive in the morning of energy. That's when I'm most productive, right in the first thing in the morning. And then for some reason, late in the evening after I've been to CrossFit, I have this drive to just want to work a little bit more and just love working in the evenings. So I just do a little bit. I mean, a lot of the stuff in the evening I do is like brainless activity, so it's kind of like not stuff that takes a lot of brain power. That's all the stuff in the morning for me. But you do end up working longer hours when you go your own path. Like you won't be working like a 9 to 5. You'll be working like 5 to 9. But the caveat with this is that it won't feel like work because you're working on something that you really enjoy. So it'll be the opposite, and you'll feel like it's hard to pull yourself away from it. Third point on my list is you probably won't see immediate payoffs. So maybe you're getting into entrepreneurship because you're thinking, I could earn loads of money, I could do this, that, and the other. I could have more freedom, I could work less if I wanted to, go on all these vacations, holidays. But the reality is, building something from the ground up, if that's what you choose to do, takes time and effort. And when you first start out building something, it can feel, or it does feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill. And you're working and working and working and working towards something, and it doesn't feel like you get any momentum. And the option to quit is always there. It's always looming. Like sometimes my brain is like, wouldn't it be easy if you just did this or did that? It's very easy for some people to fall into that trap and just quit. Whereas if you work on something you're passionate about, you always have that. Well, for me anyway, I have a drive. So I'll just keep going and going and going. And immediate payoffs are not something that really exists in entrepreneurship, from my experience. They've always been long-term projects I worked on with, like, where you can just kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. Or sometimes you can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel, actually. It's pitch black, and you're just opening doors, you're trying things, you're working on things. Sometimes things don't work out, and you go back. It's like going forward a few steps, back a few more steps, and then rebuilding and then learning. And finally, when you do get to the payoffs, both in like achievement, from a money sense, everything, they, in my opinion, are way, way bigger and more fulfilling than any kind of fruitless work you do for someone that you're just trying to earn a paycheck from. A lot of people get into this. So I got into entrepreneurship through a book called The 4-Hour Workweek. And that depicts the cover of that as a guy on a laptop in a hammock between two palm trees. And you read the front cover and you look at the picture and you put the two together and you think, 4-hour work week. Like, this guy's trying to tell me how I can work 4 hours a week and live this lifestyle. And the whole book, I don't believe, is actually about working 4 hours a week. It's more about prioritizing your time and getting your time back and looking at what true wealth is, where you have like time and money, not just like money and no time kind of thing. And 4-hour work weeks are possible, but I can almost guarantee when you work on your own thing, you'll work more than 4 hours a week. I like more the idea of a 4-hour work day. 4 hours of focused work is more than enough to build something cool. But I obviously work more than that. Another thing is that people will tell you you are crazy. When you go against the norm, people will tell you that you're doing something wrong, you're crazy, you're bonkers, why don't you just get a real job, why don't you just do this, why don't you just fall in line? And it takes a lot of fortitude to put that to one side and not get discouraged by it, because if you're not strong-minded and thick-skinned, you could quite easily throw a towel in and just be like, do you know what, maybe they're right, maybe I should just go and do what everyone else is doing. And people won't believe in you either. And you'll probably get this from people who are closest to you, which is interesting, because they want to do it to protect you. They want to like make sure they're looking after you and make sure they've got your best interests in mind. But when actually what's happening is, because you're showing signs of progress and advancing more than they are, they don't like that. I always find that people like when you do good, but not too good. like not better than they're doing in most cases, in some cases even. Like, I mean, I feel I'm in a position now. If I see, sorry, I'm just playing with my camera. If I see someone doing really well, it very rarely makes me jealous or insecure or anything like that. I'm looking at them thinking, wow, fair play to you. Like, hat off, big pat on the back. How do I learn from this and apply it to what I'm doing, rather than being jealous and trying to put these people down and tear them down. Which is, I've experienced that before when you're doing better than people and you just people try and pull you back down to their level. It's very normal. You have to develop a thick skin for those closest around you as well, because there will be some people that will tell you you're crazy. They won't believe in you, even though they say they've got your best interests at heart. So that's wild. You have also, the next point on here is how fulfilling it is working on your own thing. So I kind of touched on this before, but the fulfillment is almost untouchable. Like, it's the best feeling ever is waking up in the morning and working on things and doing things that you want to do. And if that work brings other people value and it makes you money and it makes you happy, that's like so fulfilling. Like, why would you want anything else? You don't need anything else. That's like what people strive for. People want fulfillment. They want like an easier life. And what's easier? Is easier having more money? Is it having flexibility? Could mean many things to different people. Because I'm not earning mega bucks, like mega millions or anything like that. Hopefully one day I'm on the way there, but it's not even. I feel once you get to a point where your basic needs are met and you've got enough money to do what you want, you kind of think about things very differently. Because it almost is so counterintuitive when you're looking for money and you're like desperate for it. That's the times when it doesn't appear. But when you need it the least, that's when it shows up the most. And it's the most wildest experience when you're not bothered about money and it turns up in droves and you don't even expect and you're not even asking for it. It's the strangest thing, strangest experience. My next point here is about doing hard things. So what I've realized is going down this path of entrepreneurship is I seek out hard things to do, whereas I used to find easy ways to get around the hard things, So if there's a hard task or a hard challenge or a hard project, some people might not want to pursue that because it's hard, it's physical or mental pain. But now I realize there is a correlation between the toughness of work that you do and the level of success or the outcome that it yields, that it brings. You do hard things, you get better results, I think, in most cases. Whereas a lot of people will try and... I understand how you can try and figure out how to make things easier, less stressful, faster, things like that. But, I mean, seeking out hard things, to me, a hard thing is deciding what you want to do with your life and then actually taking steps to like make it happen and working on things that you are interested in. That's a hard decision. That's a hard thing to do. Whereas you could argue that an easy thing to do is to think, I'll just go and get a job. I'll just go and do something simple or easy. But if you do easy things, I guess life is probably going to be quite hard for the majority of people. Whereas if you find and seek out hard things, you'll have an easier life or a better life. And this kind of ties into my next point, which is failing often. Like, look for failures. I couldn't tell you how many times we've worked on things and it's failed. Like, it's not worked. You work so hard towards something and you think it's working out, and then for some reason you pull the plug because it's literally not working. And it's funny, for all these things, all these failures, you realise there's like lessons there you learn, really powerful lessons that you can apply going forward that lead you to success. That's where the power of having a mentor comes in, who's made these mistakes before you or made these failures, so you can just piggyback off what they've done, and they're telling you, no, do it this way, do it that way, don't do this, and you just listen to them. So like listening to mentors is so valuable. And my final point here, which is kind of interesting, which is about the destination and the journey. So when you start this going on your own path to entrepreneurship thing, the destination is very, very appealing to people. Very appealing. But you quickly realize that it's actually the journey and the progress that is the more fulfilling side of things, why you do it. It is for me anyway. Like the destination almost is just a byproduct of things, and the actual journey, the progress of working on your own thing and all those things I just talked about is the fulfilling thing. That's where the money is. That's like, as in, that's where the happiness is you're seeking. It's all in those things. It's all in the hard things. It's all not seeking immediate payoffs, working longer than you think, waking up and being able to work on whatever you want. That's the journey versus the destination. I think that's so powerful. But it's all these things, like, you may watch this video and some of them may resonate with you, some of the points, some of them may not. And that might be because you're not ready to hear it yet. And this is an interesting concept because somebody could tell you the best piece of advice in the world. Like, this video could be the best piece of advice you ever heard. I hope it is. But at the same time, you may not be ready to internalize any of the messages in it. So then you won't understand it until you're ready. And it's the same with pieces of information that I see. Somebody could have told me 10 years ago the things that have just clicked into place now. And it's only because I'm ready to accept that information. And the light bulb moment goes off. Oh shit! That's what somebody means by this. But even though you've been told it 10 years ago, but 10 years ago, your mind is probably up your arse. And you've no idea what you're thinking or doing. Just completely focused on the wrong things. Your mind's all over the place. So that's kind of like my reality of entrepreneurship so far. Hopefully, it's been interesting for you guys. YouTube will recommend some videos up and around here somewhere. You should go and check them out. The algorithm's pretty clever. And I'll leave a link below where you can find out more information about me and what I get up to and stuff. Any questions on entrepreneurship, I'd love to hear your feedback on it in the comments.